So here's how to find true off-market multifamily deals. Actually, it works for really any asset class of real estate. So let's talk about that. There's multiple ways you can do it. The most popular and the most common and candidly probably the most effective is direct mail. But I'm not talking about mailing thousands of letters, okay? Let me give you the strategy because it's pretty simple and it's pretty basic. You're going to do some homework first because what you're going to do is you're going to search for people that have owned ideally at least 20 years, okay? And I'll tell you why in a minute. And if the list is too small, you go with 10 years and do a search. You can go to the county records office and you can do a search in whatever market you want to mail, and you put in, like maybe, 10 to 50 units, something like that. Each county has different ways that you can search based on the number of units in a building. And so you do a search, you put in there 20 plus years, and then you're only talking, even in a big metropolitan area like a Phoenix, a Denver, a Tampa, you're probably talking maybe a few hundred max, okay? You're not talking about thousands. You're going to mail them more than once. Mailing is not a once and done thing. You've got to get them when they're motivated. And then one other thing I do, now this is going to sound like a lot of work, and it is, but it's so freaking worth it. See, the average response on mail is about 0.5%, okay? If you get 1%, you're thrilled. Well, when I did what I'm describing here, I got a 6 to 8% response, no BS. And so let me tell you what I did. So basically what you do is when you search multifamily assets, you're going to find that most of them are owned in entities, LLCs, corporations, things like that. You have to break down the entity to see who actually owns the entity. And you go to the Secretary of State's office and you look up the documents and see who owns it. But see, you can find the VA to do this, okay? You can do this. Now, you might, with AI, you might even be able to scrape it at this point, but this is, it's been a while since I've done it. It's some work, but it's absolutely worth it because obviously if you mail to the registered agent for the entity, it's going to end up in the trash. So you're mailing them at their home address. That's one of the big secrets. Second thing is you want to make sure that the envelope is handwritten, and on the letter inside, you make sure that you've got the owner's name there, but you've also got the address of the property in the first line, so you get their attention. And then just tell them you're interested in their property. Are they interested in selling? And then you have multiple ways for them to respond. You have a phone number, you have email. You could even set up a quick website. I did a quick website. It was called the Cleef Family and had a picture of my wife and I, and just a way for them to do an email, like a contact us form. You can do that for less than $100. So do that, but I'll give you one more ninja trick. You can put a self-addressed stamped card inside the envelope, because if they've owned 20 years, they're retired, and their primary mode of communication back in the day was letters. And so you put a self-addressed stamped envelope, that just says, hey, this is what my property is, how many units it has, this is what I'm asking, and they can send it back to you. That's a little ninja trick. But here's the thing. If they've owned 20 plus years, they're retirees. And if they're retirees, you've got a hell of a good opportunity to possibly get seller financing. So hope that helps.